here and raised here in the Campos in a very traditional way when it was still horse and buggies. And I was born here and grew up here somewhat, or did the thing in Canada for some years, but then my mother passed, and then still kept doing the seasonal thing. And my dad actually left me at my aunt and uncle in Coppeline. Mm-hmm. So my dad was kind of, all his siblings, they stayed in the traditional communities, and he kind of left to do the Canada thing. So I got a taste of the more traditional way with my aunt and uncle. Been staying with them for some years.
And so that time that you were with your aunt and uncle, that was up in Capulin, and then that was in the 1980s, 1990s, early.
Yeah, 1980s, and yep, and I might have come home 1992. I'm not 1991, 1992. I came home. I was there for 5 years.
Yeah. So what did daily life look like in Capulin for you and your family during that time?
There was very secluded. It was they still had the horse and buggy, and they didn't have the electricity. And it was usually that the father would go once a week to Casas Grandes, to the town. And he would take one of the kids. Usually he'd take one of the kids with. Sometimes my aunt went as well. But that was the most that you would leave the colony. And so, of course, the father would leave on a regular basis like that. Sometimes the wife would go as well, the woman. And every now and then, or the kids would get a turn. And so I might have gone, while I was there, I might have gone once a month to town, and that was very exciting because you'd go to the end of the colony and you'd get on a bus, you go to town.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was very secluded. They had a cheese factory, so and they did that. But are you wanting to know about school or those things?
Sure. Yeah. What was that like out in the colony?
Yeah. So I did start the school there as well, and what they call fibla, just the basic learning to write. I mean, they have fibla through, I guess you go through steps, fibla, and then catechism, and then eventually Bible, but you finish by the time you're 12 or 13. So I just got 2 years of that, but then I came home here to Cuauhtémoc, and then it was different. I think we did try the old colony school here a little. My dad had kind of left that years ago already, but then we started going to the German Church of God here.
And so what were some of the differences that you noticed coming back here to the Cuauhtémoc area from Capulin at that time in the early 90s?
It was already more contact with the Spanish or Mexicans in general. I mean, it was open. There, Capulin was still off to the side, and still is, and the town is quite a distance, and here you have it so close to Cuauhtémoc, so it was almost unavoidable. I mean, you still had that kind of mentality where we stay to ourselves, but it's not so easy here, or it wasn't so easy here. And there it seemed more actually like a gated community felt. Now, if I think about it, felt more like that because you go off the highway and you drive a ways, and then you're in the colonies, and there's no the town's not so close.
Yeah. How long did it take by bus from Capulin to Casas Grandes? I've heard that was quite a bus trip.
That one, it wasn't. Oh, out of the colony back then with the roads and stuff like that, it might have taken an hour. Yeah. But it felt especially long since you got over half of that dirt road.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. So for a period of time, your dad was a Old Colony school teacher here in the Manitoba colony. What were the Old Colony schools like in this area here? And then what are some of your most memorable experiences from that Old Colony school system?
I think even then the Old Colony schools here were very similar to what they would have been in Copaleen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same thing. I've always wondered, I need to talk to him about this, how he actually, I still find it hard to believe. Over the years, I've just always seen his books, like where he wrote in
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but I've always wondered, I still find it hard to believe that he was an Old Colony teacher.
Yeah.
But I think for him it was very much the way it was. And my experiences, my most memorable experiences in the school aren't positive. They're interesting,
Mm-hmm.
but not so positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was usually getting punished.
Yeah.
But if you want to know about that, I can say that would definitely be interesting. But
Yeah.
I mean, most of those methods are to shame a person. Like they even have you heard about this, the fule Benkj?
No, yeah, go on.
Because I don't know if they have it to this day, but they had it then. And I'm sure my dad had it in his school, but they had it in Copaleen. The fule Benkj is the teachers up front. And the girls are on one side, the guys are on one side. That's also can be a punishment. You go sit with the girls. And I, at one time, thought that was a punishment. But no, the fule Benkj is the lazy bench.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not doing your work or you're not doing something, up there beside the teacher, there's a bench, this hard bench, and you go sit up there
Yeah.
in front of the students. That's kind of... So there's those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I mean, of course, there was spankings, stuff like that. But there was also where they had these big windows and you had to stand in the window facing the street.
Mm-hmm.
So if people passed, they could, they knew.
You were being the bad child.
Yeah. So those are my, that's nice. I'd like to say something positive. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good times. It was a good school. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just something. That's just the way it was.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also remember, like, I'm left-handed, and this is another thing I'm not so sure about nowadays. I think some schools, like Copaleen, they would still do it. I don't think around here maybe, but you shouldn't be left-handed. Like everyone should be right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember the teacher coming to my desk and putting the pen in my right hand, or the chalk, whatever it was. Then we had those little tufels, or those little chalkboards. And the chalk. But no, we did also write in books. So he would start me off writing, and then he would leave, and I would just put it back in my left hand.
Yeah.
I think this isn't going to work with my right hand. But I managed to still be left-handed.
Yeah.
Because some people, they do unlearn that.
Yeah, for sure. Different a period of time.
But those are my most memorable.
Yeah.
It wasn't all bad or negative.
Yeah.